Hello, hello. So today I want to talk to you about what I believe is the key way to create inner peace and happiness. All right, there are many roads to the same end, but what I've seen work magic in the lives of my clients and also changed my life completely is this idea of using logic and wisdom to change the way that we respond to the circumstances of our lives. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about the difference between logic and tactics. Okay, what's a tactic? Tactic is something you can use to get you from point A to point B. It's kind of like the what you should do. Whereas logic is a reasonable way of understanding or reasoning through something. It's kind of like the why it makes sense and then how can I actually do the what, if that makes sense. So where I see most people getting stuck when they're trying to make changes is they know what to do. Right? You read the books, you watch the videos, you listen to the podcasts, and you say, this sounds great, I need to do all these things to create peace and happiness. The problem is we're usually missing the why and how, and I believe that logic fills that gap. Okay, so today we're going to walk through how to change the way we respond to a common stressor. We're going to use the example of social anxiety. Okay, so I'm going to use another metaphor. I love teaching in metaphors. I hope you enjoy. All right, so here we are. All is good, except it started raining. Okay, and I love the rain, but today we're going to say the rain is something unpleasant. The rain represents social anxiety. Okay, so I did a Google search because I wanted to know what are the top ways to overcome social anxiety, and this is what Google said. So one of the tactics is to practice deep breathing. Okay, when you're going into a social situation, if you find yourself feeling anxious, stop, focus on your breathing, it'll help calm you down, okay? So that's, to me, is kind of like putting on a hat in the rain. It definitely helps. Okay, another tactic suggested is that you focus on what other people are saying instead of focusing on what you're going to say, right? Because sometimes we trip over our words when we're rehearsing in our heads what we should be saying, and we don't really listen. And then we can't really improvise. So that's a great tactic. So that's kind of like putting on a rain poncho. Okay, and a third really helpful tactic for dealing with social anxiety is to introduce yourself to people you don't know, to strangers, right? Because the more you face that fear, you realize it's not so bad. And the more and more you do it, the more confident you become. So to me, that's kind of like putting on boots in the rain. All right, so now we've got this really trendy rain outfit. Okay, but what are we missing? Other than not being out in the rain, what is the number one way to protect ourselves against rain? Well, it's to use an umbrella, right? This is a terribly drawn umbrella, but I hope you don't mind. I want you to think of this as the umbrella of logic. Okay? These tactics help, but what logic would help our brains reason through a different way to approach social anxiety? Well, my number one idea on this is the idea of control. All right, because social anxiety stems from a subconscious belief that we have control over how other people think and feel about us. So we make ourselves anxious thinking if we don't say the perfect thing, if our outfit is weird, if we sound silly, then people are going to reject us or they're not going to like us. And while certainly we can influence people's opinions of us, we can't control it, right? So the best that we can do is just be ourselves. That's what we can count on rather than trying to do all these things and say the perfect thing and do the perfect thing. All right, and if this sounds strange to you, the idea that you can't control other people's thoughts and feelings, then think about yourself, right? Would you say that other people have control over your thoughts and feelings? Certainly we react to people, right? If someone says something rude to us, we might become upset or we might feel angry or whatever it is that we feel. But they don't actually control that reaction. We control it, and we can change the reaction if we so please, right? So really think about this logic. And do you see how the logic changes the way we respond to social anxiety at the fundamental level, right? Because these tactics, they're all things we can do to get more comfortable with it. There are things we can do to kind of cope with it. But this changes the game because we're like, I don't have control over how people think and feel about me, so I'm just gonna do my thing, and if anyone likes it, cool. If not, then I can't control it, right? And the more important thing, I call this the umbrella of logic, right? Because it not only protects us in the social anxiety case, but think of how many other situations you can use this idea of control in. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of places where we worry about what other people think and feel about us. Public speaking, getting feedback at work, wherever it is. And if we can master this concept, logic, or this piece of logic surrounding control, it completely changes everything. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.